The Augie Dar. For a while, the war was all we talked about. February was when it was really at its worst. That's when practically nobody was talking to us, and Julian had started leaving notes in our lockers. The notes to Jack were stupid, like, "You stink, big cheese, and nobody likes you anymore." And God knows like, "Freak," and another that said, "Get out of our school, Ark." Summer thought we should report the notes to Miss Rubin, who was the middle school dean, or even Mr. Tasman. But we thought that would be like snitching. Anyway, it's not like we didn't leave notes, too, though ours weren't really mean. They were kind of funny and sarcastic. One was, "You're so pretty, Julian. I love you. Will you marry me? Love, Bueller." Another was, "Love your hair. XOX, Bueller." Another was, "You're a bad. Tickle my feet. XO, Bueller." Bueller was a made-up person that me and Jack came up with. She had really worse habits, like eating the green stuff in between her toes and sucking on her knuckles, and we figured someone like that would have a real crush on Julian, who looked and acted like someone in a Kids Bar commercial. There were also a couple of times in February when Julian, Miles, and Henry played tricks on Jack. They didn't play tricks on me, I think, because they knew that if they got caught bullying me, it would be big-time trouble for them. Jack, they figured, one easier target. So one time they stole his gym shorts and played monkey in the middle with them in the locker room. Another time, Miles, who sat next to Jack in homeroom, swiped Jack's worksheet off his desk, crumpled it in a bowl, and tossed it to Julian across the room. This wouldn't have happened if Miss Petosa had been there, of course, but there was a substitute teacher that day, and subs never really know what's going on. Jack was good about his stuff. He never let them see he was upset, though I think sometimes he was. The other kids in the first grade knew about the war, except for Savannah's group. The girls were neutral at first, but by March, they were getting sick of it. And so were some of the boys. Like another time when Julian was dumping some pencil sharpener savings into Jack's backpacks, Amos, who was usually tight with them, grabbed the backpack out Julian's hand and returned it to Jack. It was starting to feel like the majority of boys weren't buying into Julian anymore. Then a few weeks ago, Julian started spreading this ridiculous rumor that Jack had hired some hitman to get him and Miles and Henry. This lie was so pathetic that some people were actually laughing about him behind his back. At that point, any boys who had still been on his side now jumped ship and were clearly neutral. So by the end of March, only Miles and Henry were on Julian's side, and I think even they were getting tired of the war by then. I'm pretty sure everyone stopped playing the plague game behind my back, too. No one really cringed if I bumped into them anymore, and people borrow my pencils without acting like the pencil has cooties. People even joke around with me now sometimes. Like the other day, I saw Maya writing a note to Ellie on a piece of Ugly Doll stationery, and I don't know why, but I just kind of randomly said, "Do you know the guy who created the Ugly Dolls based them on me?" Maya looked at me with her eyes wide open like she totally believed me. Then, when she realized I was only kidding, she thought it was the funniest thing in the world. "You are so funny, August," she said. And then she told Ellie about and some of the other girls what I had just said, and they all thought it was funny too. Like at first, they were shocked, but then when they saw I was laughing about it, They knew it was okay to laugh about it too. And the next day I found a little ugly doll keychain sitting on my chair with a nice little note from Maya that said, "For the nicest ugly doll in the world, XO Maya." 6 months ago, stuff like that would never have happened, but now it happens more and more. Also, people have been really nice about the hearing aids I started wearing.
Lobet. Ever since I was little, the doctors told my parents that someday I need hearing aids. I don't know why this always freaked me out a bit. Maybe because anything to do with my ears bothers me a lot. My hearing was getting worse, but I hadn't told anyone about it. The ocean sound that was always in my head had been getting louder. It was drowning out people's voices, like I was underwater. I couldn't hear teachers if I sat in the back of the class. But I knew if I told mom or dad about it, I'd end up with hearing aids. And I was hoping I could make it through the 5th grade without having that happen. But then in my annual checkup in October, I flunked the audiology test, and the doctor was like, "Dude, it's time." And he sent me to a special ear doctor who took impressions of my ears. Out of all my features, my ears are the ones I hate the most. They are like tiny closed fists on the sides of my face. They are too low on my head too. They look like squashed pieces of pizza dough sticking out of the top of my neck or something. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating a little, but I really hate them. When the ear doctor first pulled the hearing aids out for me and mom to look at, I groaned. "I am not wearing that thing," I announced, folding my arms in front of me. "I know they probably look kind of big," said the ear doctor, "but we had to attach them to the headband because we had no other way of making them so they stay in your ears." See, normal hearing aids usually have a part that wraps around the outer ear to hold the inner bud in place. But in my case, since I don't have outer ears, they had to put the earbuds on this heavy-duty headband that was supposed to wrap around the back of my head. "I can't wear that, Mom," I whined. "You hardly notice them," said Mom, trying to be cheerful. "They look like headphones." "Headphones? Look at them, Mom," I said angrily. "I look like Lobot." "Which one is Lobot?" said Mom calmly. "Lobot?" The ear doctor smiled as he looked at the headphones and made some adjustments. "The Empire Strikes Back? The bald guy with the cool bionic radio transmitter thing that wraps around the back of his skull?" "I'm drawing a blank," said Mom. "You know Star Wars stuff?" I asked the ear doctor. "No Star Wars stuff," he answered, slipping the thing over my head. "I practically invented Star Wars stuff." He leaned back in his chair to see how the headband fit and then took it off again. "Now, Augie, I want to explain what all this is," he said, pointing to different parts of one of the hearing aids. "This curved piece of plastic over here connects to the tubing on the ear mold. That's why we took those impressions back in December, so that this part that goes inside your ear fits nice and snug. This part here is called the tune hook, okay? And this thing is the special part we've attached to this cradle here. The Lobot part," I said miserably. "Hey, Lobot is cool," said the ear doctor. "It's not like we're saying you're going to look like Jar Jar, you know? That would be bad." He slid the earphones on my head again carefully. "There you go, August. So how's that?" "Totally uncomfortable," I said. "You'll get used to them very quickly," he said. I looked in the mirror, my eyes started tearing up. All I saw was these tubes jutting out from either side of my head, like antennas. "Do I really have to wear this, Mom?" I said, trying not to cry. "I hate them. They don't make any difference." "Give a second, buddy," said the doctor. "I haven't even turned them on yet. Wait until you hear the difference. You want to wear them." "No, I won't." And then he turned them on.
Hearing brightly, How can I describe what I heard when the doctor turned on my hearing aid, or what I didn't hear? It is too hard to think of words. The ocean just wasn't living inside my head anymore. It was gone. I could hear sounds like synthetized in my brain. It was like when you are in a room where under the light bulb on the ceiling isn't working, but you don't realize how dark it is until someone changes the light bulb, and then you are like, wow, it is so bright in here. I don't know if they what that means, the same as bright in terms of hearing, but I wish I knew one because my ears were hearing brightly now. How does it sound, Ozzy? Said the ear doctor. Can you hear me okay, buddy? I looked at him and smiled, but I didn't answer. Squiddy, do you hear anything different? Said Mom. You don't have to sound, Mom. I nodded happily. Are you hearing better? Asked the ear doctor. I don't hear that noise anymore, I answered. It is so quiet in my ears. The white noise is gone, he said, nodding. He looked at me and winked. I told you wouldn't like what you heard, August. He made me more adjustment on the left hearing aid. Does it sound very different, love? Mom asked. Yeah, I nodded. It sounds lighter. That is because you have bionic hearing now, buddy, said the ear doctor, adjusting the right side. Now thought here. He put my hand behind the hearing aid. Do you feel like that? That is the volume. You have to find the volume that works for you. We are going to do that next. Well, what do you think? He picked up a small mirror and had me look in the big mirror at how the hearing aid looked in the back. My hand covered most of the headband. The only part that picked out was the topping. Are you okay with your new bionic robot hearing aid? The ear doctor asked, looking in the mirror at me. Yeah, I said thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. James, said Mom. The first day I showed up at school with the hearing aids, I thought kids would make a big deal about it, but no one did. Some were glad I could hear better, and Jack said it made me look like an FBI agent or something, but that was it. Mr. Brownie asked me about it in the class, but it wasn't nice. What the heck is that thing on your head? It was more like if you ever need me to repeat something, Ozzy, make, make sure you tell me, okay? Now that I look back, I don't know why I was so sad about it all the time. Funny how sometimes you worry a lot about something and it turned out to be nothing.
Via's secret. A couple of days after spring break ended, Mom found out that Via hadn't told her about a school play that was happening at her high school the next week, and Mom was mad. Mom doesn't really get mad that much, though Dad would disagree with that, but she was really mad at Via for that. She and Via got into a huge fight. I could hear them yelling at each other in Via's room. My bionic lobot ears could hear Mom saying, "But what is with you lately, Via? You're moody and taciturn and secretive. What is so wrong with my not telling you about a stupid play?" Via practically screamed. "I don't even have a speaking part in it." "Your boyfriend does. Don't you want us to see him in it?" "No, actually I don't." "Stop screaming. You screamed first. Just leave me alone, okay? You've been really good about leaving me alone my whole life, so why you choose high school to suddenly be interested, I have no idea." Then I don't know what Mom answered because it all got very quiet, and even my bionic lobot ears couldn't pick up a signal.
My kids, by dinner, they seem to have made up. Dad was working late, Daisy was sleeping. She had to run up a lot earlier in the day, and Mom made an appointment to take her to the vet next morning. The three of us were sitting down and no one was talking. Finally, I said, "So, are we going to see Justine in a play?" Via didn't answer but looked down at her plate. You know, Augie, said Mom quietly, I hadn't realized what play it was, and it really isn't something that would be interesting to to kids your age. So I'm not invited, I said, looking at Via. I didn't say that, said Mom. It's just I don't think it's something you would enjoy. You would get totally bored, said Via, like she was accusing me of something. Are you and Dad going? I asked. There we go, said Mom. I'll stay home with you. What? Via yelled at Mom. Oh, great. So you are going to punish me for being honest by not going? You didn't want us to go in the first place, remember? Answered Mom. But now that you know about it, of course I want you to go, said Via. Well, I've got to weigh everyone's feelings here, Via, said Mom. What are you two talking about? I shouted. Nothing, they both snapped at the same time. Just something about Via's school that had nothing to do with you, said Mom. You are lying, I said. Excuse me, said Mom, kind of shocked. Even Via looked surprised. I said you are lying, I shouted. You are lying, I screamed at Via, getting up. You are both liars. You are both lying to my face like I'm an idiot. Sit down, Augie, said Mom, grabbing my arm. I put my arm away and pointed at Via. You think I don't know what's going on? I yelled. You don't want your brand new fancy high school friends to know your brother is a freak? Augie, Mom yelled. That's not true. Stop lying to me, Mom. I shrieked. Stop treating me like a baby. I'm not retarded. I know what's going on. I ran down the hallway to my room and slammed the door behind me so hard that I actually heard little pieces of the wall crumble inside the door frame. Then I plopped onto my bed and pulled the covers on top of me. I threw my pillows over my disgusting face and then piled all my stuffed animals on top of the pillow like I was inside a little cave. If I could walk around with a pillow over my face all the time, I would. I don't even know how I got so mad. I wasn't really mad at the beginning of dinner. I wasn't even sad, but then all of a sudden it all kind of just exploded out of me. I knew Via didn't want me to go to her stupid play, and I knew why. I figured Mom would follow me into my room right away, but she didn't. I wanted her to find me inside my cave of stuffed animals. So I waited a little more, but even after 10 minutes, she still didn't come in after me. I was pretty surprised. She always checks on me when I'm in my room, upset about stuff. I pictured Mom and Via talking about me in the kitchen. I figured Via was really bad. I pictured Mom totally laying on the guilt, and Dad would be mad at her when he came home too. I made a little hole through the pile of pillows and stuffed animals and picked the clock on my wall. Half an hour had passed and Mom still hadn't come into my room. I tried to listen for the sounds in the other rooms. Were they still having dinner? What was going on? Finally, the door opened. It was Via. She didn't even bother coming over to my head, and she didn't come in softly like I thought she would. She came in quickly.
Chapter 87. Goodbye. Augie, said Via. Come quick. Mom needs to talk to you. I'm not apologizing. That isn't about you, she yelled. But everything in the world is about you, Augie. Now hurry up. Daisy's sick. Mom's taking her to the emergency bed. Come say goodbye. I pushed the pillows off my face and looked up at her. That's why when I saw she was crying, What do you mean goodbye? Come on, she said, holding out her hand. I took her hand and followed her down the hall to the kitchen. Daisy was lying down sideways on the floor with her legs straight out in front of her. She was panting a lot, like she'd been running in the park. Mom was kneeling beside her, stroking the top of her head. What happened? I asked. She just started whimpering all of a sudden, said Via, kneeling down next to Mom. I looked down at Mom, who was crying too. I'm taking her to the animal hospital downtown, she said. The taxi's coming to pick me up. The vet will make her better, right? I said. Mom looked at me. I hope so, honey, she said quietly, but I honestly don't know. Of course he will, I said. Daisy been sick a lot lately, Algie, and she's old, but they can fix her, I said, looking at Via to agree with me, but Via wouldn't look up at me. Mom's lips were trembling. I think it might be time we say goodbye to Daisy, Algie. I'm sorry. No, I said. We don't want her to suffer, Algie, she said. The phone rang. Via picked it up, said, okay, thanks, and then hung up. The taxi's outside, she said, wiping her tears in the backs of her hand. Okay, Algie, open the door for me, sweetie, said Mom, picking Daisy up very gently, like she was a huge droopy baby. Please, no, Mommy, I cried, putting myself in front of the door. Honey, please, said Mom. She's very heavy. What about Daddy? I cried. He's meeting me at the hospital, Mom said. He doesn't want Daisy to suffer, Algie. Via moved me away from the door and held it open it for Mom. My cell phone's on if you need anything, Mom said to Via. Can you cover her with a blanket? Via nodded, but she was crying hysterically now. Say goodbye to Daisy, kiss, Mom said, tears streaming down her face. I love you, Daisy, Via said, kissing Daisy on the nose. I love you so much. Bye, little girlie, I whispered into Daisy's ear. I love you. Mom carried Daisy down the stop. The taxi driver had opened the back door, and we watched her get in. Just before she closed the door, Mom looked up at us standing by the entrance to the building, and she gave a little wave. I don't think I have ever seen her look sadder. I love you, Mommy, said Via. I love you, Mommy, I said. I'm sorry, Mommy. I blew a kiss to her and closed the door. We watched the car leave, and then Via closed the door. She looked at me a second, and then she hugged me very, very tight, while we both cried a million tears.
Daisy's toys. Justin came over about half an hour later. He gave me a big hug and said, sorry, Augie. We all sat down in the living room, not saying anything. For some reason, Via and I had taken all of Daisy's toys from around the house and put them in a little pile on the coffee table. Now we just stared at the pile. She really is the biggest dog in the world, said Via. I know, said Justin, rubbing Via's back. She just started whimpering, like all of a sudden. I said, we are not. Like 2 seconds after you left the table, she said. Mom was going to go after you, but Daisy just started, like whimpering. Like how? I said. Just whimpering. I don't know, said Via. Like howling? Augie, like whimpering, she answered impatiently. She just started moaning, like something was really hurting her, and she was panting like crazy. Then she just kind of flopped down, and Mom went over and tried to pick her up, and whatever, she was obviously hurting. She begged Mom. What? I said. Mom tried to touch her stomach. Daisy begged her hand, Via explained. Daisy never bites anybody, I answered. She wasn't herself, said Justin. She was obviously in pain. Daddy was right, said Via. We shouldn't have let her get this bad. What do you mean? I said. He knew she was sick? Okay. Mom's taken her to the vet like 3 times in the last 2 months. She has been throwing up left and right. Haven't you noticed? When I didn't know she was sick, Via didn't say anything, but she put her arm around my shoulders and pulled me closer to her. I started to cry again. I'm sorry, Augie, she said softly. I'm really sorry about everything, okay? You forgive me. You know how much I love you, right? I nod. Something that fight didn't matter much now. Was Mommy bleeding? I asked. It was just a nip, said Via. Right, Sam. She pointed to the bottom of her thumb to show me exactly where Daisy had bitten Mom. Did it hurt her? Mom's is okay, Augie. She is fine. Mom and Dad came home 2 hours later. We knew the second they opened the door and Daisy wasn't with them that Daisy was gone. We all sat down in the living room, around the pile of Daisy toys. Dad told us what happened at the animal hospital, how the vet took Daisy for some x-rays and blood tests, then came back and told them she had a huge mass in her stomach. She was having trouble breathing. Mom and Dad didn't want her to suffer, so Daddy picked her up in his arms like he always liked to do, with her legs straight up in the air, and he and Mom kissed her goodbye over and over again and whispered to her while the vet put a needle into her leg. And then after about a minute, she died in Daddy's arms. It was so peaceful, Daddy said. She wasn't in any pain at all, like she was just going to sleep. A couple of times while he talked, Dad's voice got trembly and he cleared his throat. I had never seen Dad cry before, but I saw him cry tonight. I had gone into Mom and Dad's bedroom looking for Mom to put me to bed, but saw Dad sitting on the edge of the bed, taking off his socks. His back was to the door, so he didn't know I was there. At first I thought he was laughing because his shoulders were shaking, but then he put his palms on his eyes and realized he was crying. It was the quietest crying I have ever heard, like a whisper. I was going to go over to him, but then I thought maybe he was whisper crying because he didn't want me or anyone else to hear him. So I walked out and went to Via's room, and I saw Mom lying next to Via on the bed. Mom was whispering to Via, who was crying. So I went to my bed and put my pajamas without anyone telling me to, and put the night light on and turned the light off and crawled into the little mountain of stuffed animals I had left on my bed earlier. It felt like that all had happened a million years ago. I took my hearing aids off and put them on the night table and pulled the covers up to my ears and imagined Daisy snuggling with me, her big red tongue licking my face all over like it was her favorite face in the world. And that's how I fall asleep.
Heaven, I woke up later on, and it was still dark. I got out of bed and walked into Mom and Dad's bedroom. Mommy, I whispered. It was completely dark, so I couldn't see her open her eyes. Mommy, you okay, honey? She said goggly. Can I sleep with you? Mom scooted over toward Daddy's side of the bed, and I snuggled up next to her. She kissed my hair. Is your hand okay? I said. Via told me Daisy beat you. It was only a nip, she whispered in my ear. Mommy, I started crying. I'm sorry about what I said. Shh, there's nothing to be sorry about, she said. So quietly I could barely hear her. She was rubbing the side of her face against my face. Is Via ashamed of me? I said. No, honey, no. You know she's not. She's just adjusting to a new school. It's not easy. I know, I know you know. I'm sorry I call you a liar. Go to sleep, sweet boy. I love you so much. I love you so much too, Mommy. Good night, honey, she says very softly. Mommy, is Daisy with Grant now? I think so. Are they in heaven? Yes. Do people look the same when they get to heaven? I don't know. I don't think so. Then how do people recognize each other? I don't know, sweetie. She sounded tired. She just feel it. You don't need your eyes to love, right? You should feel it inside you. That's how it is in heaven. It's your love, and no one forgets who they love. She kissed me again. Now, go to sleep, honey. It's late, and I'm so tired. But I couldn't go to sleep, even after I knew she had fallen asleep. I could hear Daddy sleeping too, and I imagined I could hear Violet sleeping down the hallway in her room, and I wondered if Daisy was sleeping in heaven right then, and if she was sleeping, was she dreaming about me? And I wonder how it would feel to be in heaven someday, and not have my face matter anymore, like it never ever mattered to Daisy.
Understudy. Vera brought home 3 tickets to her school play a few days after Daisy died. She never mentioned the fight we had over dinner again. On the night of the play, right before she and Justine were leaving to get to their school early, she gave me a big hug and told me she loved me, and she was proud to be my sister. This was my first time in Via's new school. It was much bigger than her old school, and 1,000 times bigger than my school. More halfway, more room for people. The only really bad thing about my bionic robot hearing aid was the fact that I couldn't wear a baseball cap anymore. In situations like this, baseball caps come in really handy. Sometimes I wish I could still get away with wearing that old astronaut helmet I used to wear when I was little. Believe it or not, people would think seeing a kid in an astronaut helmet was a lot less weird than seeing my face. Anyway, I kept my head down as I walked right behind my mom through the long bright hallway. We followed the crowd to the auditorium, where students hand out programs at the front entrance. We found seats in the 5th row, close to the middle. As soon as we sat down, Mom started looking inside her pocket. I can't believe I forgot my glasses, she said. Dad shook his head. Mom was always forgetting her glasses, or her key, or something or others. She reflected that way. You want to move closer? Said Dad. Mom squinted at the stage. No, I can't see, okay? Speak now or forever. Hold your peace, said Dad. I'm fine. I'm sorry, Mom. Look, there is Justine, I said to Dad, pointing out Justine's picture in the program. There is 9 pictures of him, he answered, nodding. How come there is no picture of Vera? I said. She's an understudy, said Mom. But look, here's her name. Why do they call her an understudy? I asked. Well, look at me in that picture, said Mom to Dad. I don't think I could have recognized her. Why do they call it understudy? I repeat. It is what they call someone who replaces an actor if he can't perform for some reason, answered Mom. Did you hear Martin getting remarried? Dad said to Mom. Are you kidding me? Mom answered. like she was surprised. Who is Martin? I asked. Miranda, father. Mom answered, and then Dad. Who told you? I ran into Miranda's mother in the subway. She's not happy about it. He has a new baby on the way and everything. Wow, said Mom, shaking her head. What are you guys talking about? I said. Nothing, Dad answers. But why do they call it understudy? I said. I don't know, Augie Doogie. Dad answered. Maybe because the actor kind of study under the main actor of something, I really don't know. I was going to say something else, but then the light went down. The audience got very quickly. Daddy, can you please not call me Augie Doogie anymore? I whispered in Dad's ear. Dad smiled and nodded and gave me a thumb up. She play started. The curtain opened. The stage was completely empty except for Justin, who was sitting on an old rickety chair turning his fiddle. He was wearing an old-fashioned type of suit and a straw hat. This play is called Outlaw, he said to the audition. It was written by Thornton Ryder, produced by direction by Philip Davenport. The name of the town is Grover Corner, New Hampshire, just across the Massachusetts line, latitude 42 degrees 40 minutes, longitude 70 degrees 37 minutes. The first act show a day in our tour. The day in May 7, 1901. The time is just before dawn. I knew right then and there was that I was going to like the play. It wasn't like all the school play I have been to, like the Wizard or Oz or Cloudy with a chain of meatball. No, this was ground-up swimming, and I feel smart sitting there watching it. A little later in the play, a character named Mr. Frog called out her daughter, Emily. I knew from the program that was the part of Miranda was playing, so I leaned forward to get a better look at her. That's Miranda, Mom whispered me. Squinting at the stage when Emily walked out, she looked so different. It's not Miranda, I whispered. It's a Vera. Oh my God, I said, Mom, launching forward in her seat. Shh, said Dad, it's Vera. Mom whispered to him. I know, whispered Dad, smiling. Shh.